Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my channel, the beautiful stitches. I love you all and I'm glad you're here with me. I want to use this opportunity to thank all my subscribers. I want to thank you all for being there for me, and if you're visiting for the first time, you're welcome. Please, before leaving, click the subscribe button and touch the notification bell to always get notified anytime I upload my videos. All right, let's go over to today's tutorial. Today we are going to be learning how to calculate the radius of a circle. Okay, why I'm bringing up this tutorial is because we'll be using this calculation to cut our circle sleeves, circle top, circle skirt, peplum, whatever that has to do with circle. So we'll be using this formula or this calculation to always cut out the radius of our circle. Okay, here we have our circle. This is example of what we call a circle. As you can see, this is a circle, this is a circle also. Then for us to know the circumference is from here. As you can see, my arrow from this point round the circle is the circumference of the circle. And then if talking about the diameter, from one end of the circle down to the other end of the circle is the diameter of a circle. And then for the radius, we have our radius here. The radius is from the midpoint of our circle, from the center of our circle down to the edge of the circle. The distance from here to this place is the radius of our circle. Okay, so let's calculate how to calculate the radius of a circle. We have a constant formula. We have a formula that has already been designed and established by mathematicians. Okay, so here we have our formula as C, which is the circumference, equals to 2 pi radius. Okay, this is a standard formula. Just like I said before, the C here is for the circumference of the circle. The pi here is for the diameter from here to here. Remember, this is longer than the radius. It is twice the length of the radius. So we have 2 pi. And the radius here is the distance from the center of the circle down to the edge of the circle. From one end to the other is the radius. Just like this. From here to here is the radius. From here to here is the radius. Okay, so for us now, for us to calculate the radius of a circle, we need to know the circumference of our skirt, top, or whatever we want to calculate. If it is for skirt, you need to know the circumference of the waist of our skirt. And if it is for top, you need to know the circumference of the armhole. Okay, circumference of the armhole. Whatever it is you want to cut using this formula, you need to know the circumference. So we have circumference as the subject of the formula here. So the circumference here now is not what we are looking for. We are looking for the radius of the circle. So we have to make this the subject of this formula, bringing it to this side of the paper. So but for us to do it, we have to divide the whole of this formula by 2 pi for us to get this as the subject of the formula. Okay, so let's do it here. We'll do circumference over 2 pi, okay, equals to 2 pi radius all over 2 pi. Okay, as you can see now, 2 pi will cancel 2 pi. So we are left with circumference over 2 pi radius. So we are making this now the subject of the formula. So we have radius equals to circumference over 2 pi. Okay, so we have gotten the radius now as the subject of this formula here now. So we are going to be imputing the figures of this standard. We will impute the figures. the figure. So here we have our radius. For the radius, this is what we are looking for. So we don't know the radius of our circle. Then for the circumference, let's use example. The circumference of our circle, let's say the circumference of our skirt is 28. Okay, then for this 2 pi, we have 2 pi, which is 2 times the value for pi is 3.142. okay, so it is equals to 6.284. This is the value for pi. Okay, this is what we have now as the value for pi. So let's input our figures into this formula now. Okay, so we have radius equals to our circumference is 28 all over 2 pi. Okay, we have 6.28. okay, so here, sorry, at this point here we need to approximate this 4 here, but 4 is not up to 5. We only approximate 5 from 5 and above, so we cannot approximate. We leave it at 6.28. so we have 6.28 here. Okay, so 6.28 here. So what we are going to do now, radius equals to 6.28 divided by 28. We have 4.458. okay, 4.458. and here we can approximate this to this. So from 5 here, we approximate it to this 4, it will be 4.5. so our radius now is equals to 4.5, approximately 4.5. so this is what we have as our radius. So let's calculate it on our paper now. Okay, so this is our pattern paper. I'll be using it to demonstrate how to cut out our flay. So what we do, we fold it this way, fold it into 2, and also turn it this other way and fold it just exactly the way I'm doing it now. Okay, so on a normal day, if we want to draw out a circle, this is the center of our circle, so from here we draw it round. But in this case, we'll be folding it this way so that we can achieve our radius. Okay, so from our previous calculation, we have our radius as 4.5. we have 4.5 as our radius, and the circumference of our circle is 28. 28 divided by 6.28, we have 4.5 as our radius. So we'll be working with this 4.5. okay, so before inputting our 4.5 on this pattern paper, let's assume that the length of our flay that we want to achieve is 5 inches. So what we're going to do is we add this our 4.5 plus 5 inches for the main flay that we are cutting. We have 9.5 inches. Okay, so this is to be sure that the quantity of fabric that we are placing on fold will be enough for our flay. So we measure on this side, we have 9.5. okay, and then also you also measure on this side, we also have 9.5, as you can see on this point here. So if we want to add our allowance, we can add our seam allowance on the remaining fabric. Okay, and also remember, okay, before I go to that, let us cut out our radius. So we have our radius as 4.5, and 4.5 is here. So we'll measure it round down to this other end of the fabric. okay, or pattern paper, whatever you're cutting it on. So this is 4.5. We also measure again 4.5. We'll go down again 4.5 and 4.5. So what we do now, we connect these dotted lines together, okay, to form our radius. So this is the radius of our circle. So this is where we'll be cutting out. But before we add the length of our flay, okay, before we add the length of our flay, this is the radius of our circle. And remember, we'll be joining this point here to whatever we are using it for, whether it's the sleeve or the half length, whatever we are using it for, we'll be joining this sleeve to our main bodies. Okay, so we need a sewing allowance. Why I'm bringing up this one, because if we don't cut it correctly, it might be too big, or we'll run short of fabric. So for us to achieve our allowance here, we'll be adding 1/2 inch round, okay. So we'll be adding 1/2 inch round this pattern paper, okay. This is what I'm talking about, okay. So this is our sewing allowance. Also, you can achieve this by subtracting 0.5 inches from your radius. So had it been we subtracted 0.5 inches, we'll be having 4 inches, as you can see, okay. So we measure 4 inches. We measure 4 inches round. As you can see, I have 4 inches here. I have 4 inches here. So we would have measured 4 inches round, not 4.5. But if we are not adding allowance, we'll measure our correctly 4.5 inches. Okay, so right now, we'll be measuring out the length of our flay, which is 5. Remember, we added 5 to this to give us 9.5. You can measure it directly from this point. You can measure it directly from here. So we have 9.5 here. We'll measure it round. 9.5. 9.5. Measure it 9.5. Okay. Okay. 9.5. So we'll also connect round this way. Okay, you can see this is our flay. You can add your sewing allowance if you wish, maybe 1/2 inch or 1 inch sewing allowance. Add it round this way. This is our sewing allowance. So let's cut out the flay. Okay, as you can see, our flay is ready. You can see our flay is much ready. So what we are going to do now is to cut here open, depending on what you want. If you have a zipper that connects down to the flay, you cut it open. But if there's no zipper, you can just attach it directly the way it is. All you need to do is to turn it with your lining if you want to add lining to your fabric, and turn it round. Okay, so this is how we achieve our flay. Okay, and also this is a full flay. Sometimes we run short of fabric that we cannot achieve a full flay like this. So what we do is, let me show us what I mean. What we do is we fold our fabric. If we do not have enough fabric to achieve a full circle, we fold our fabric this way and then measure out. We have 4.5 as our radius. Okay, let me say 4. So we measure out 4 round this way. Let me show us what I'm talking about. Round this way, and then let me also measure out the full flay. We have 9.5, 9.5, 9.5, 25, 9.5. So what we do now, we also connect it this way, as you can see. Connect it this way, and then let me cut it out and show us what I mean. If you do not have enough fabric that will go round to give you a full circle, you can cut it in 2 places and then join it together. I didn't add allowance here. Remember, you add half-inch allowance to join it with the other fabric. Okay, you can see I have my half circle here. Okay, so what you do is use this same half circle, you place it on fold and put it on top on another fabric to cut out the remaining half circle, and then you join it together at this point. Remember, you add half-inch seam allowance on this point and you join it together with the other fabric, and you achieve your full circle. As you can see, let me show us what I mean. Okay, so this is half circle. You can see this is half circle. Okay, when you cut out another half again like this, you have your full circle with your half-inch seam allowance. You join it together and off you go with your sewing. Thanks for watching till the end. If this tutorial has been helpful to you, don't fail to give me a thumbs up and check beneath the screen. You see the subscribe button, click on it and also touch the notification bell to always get notified anytime I upload my videos. Like and share my videos. Thank you for watching till the end. See you in my next tutorial. Bye bye. I love you all.